In the stillness of the soul, the voice of the divine is heard. Selected 1. Everything changed the instant you firmly refused to use their manipulated system. Over time, it rippled through your bloodline. Past the curtain, your forefathers stirred. The archons in charge of this planetary deception were then confronted with their worst nightmare, an uncontrollable mutation. Someone who experienced the initial nudges of suspicion over their falsehoods. They are now prepared to go above and above in order to reveal the whole web of dishonesty that has been functioning in the background for far too long. An amateur-hour character assassination was not what the campaign against you was. Like military planners preparing an invasion, these individuals researched you. Already, the red flags were frantically waving. The accusations contradictions. The storylines that changed and never quite fit together. The evidence of premeditated malice was growing, and the shining joy was ill-hidden beneath the fake worry. However, it would take time for someone to have the guts to question what everyone else took for granted. The turning point was when someone began looking at the real evidence and ultimately stopped believing the popular story. Not the gossip, not the emotional blackmail, not the peer pressure to share the same views. They returned to the source, watched the video, and found something that made their breath catch and their hands shake. Indisputable evidence that you were telling the truth all along. This went beyond simply confirming your particular assertions. This was proof of a plot so well thought out and executed that it exposed the real character of the forces that had been against you. The video demonstrated how carefully it had been planned in addition to what had been done to you. The discussions exposed sophisticated psychological warfare intended to methodically undermine your credibility in addition to malice. This person's whole world fell apart when they realized the full extent of what had been planned against them. The violation, the manipulation, the deliberate destruction of your reputation. After witnessing the equipment in action, they were unable to breathe in the same manner. They had seen the attack's accuracy, the coordination of several parties, and how your accusers had such persuasive force that even your loved ones could not continue to believe you. Like a blow to the chest, the realization struck them. Every instance in which they had disregarded their own wisdom in favor of outside voices returned to them. The sickness of their own betrayal coated their tongue. Like metal every time, they ignored their instincts in favor of group consensus or drank from cups that were handed to them by people who had venom in their veins. And they were horribly aware of how they had taken part in something heinous. Friend, I believe you're not here by accident, because God orders the steps of those who seek Him, and He uses moments like this to open new doors of favor. If this message is feeding your faith, then would you prayerfully consider sowing a seed? $20, $50, or any amount God puts on your heart, by tapping the YouTube Super Thanks button below, so that together we can keep spreading hope to more people. The Word says, "Give, and it will be given to you." Luke 6 verse 38. And I stand on that promise because generous hearts make room for God to move in remarkable ways. As you give today, do it with expectation, because your seed connects to your future and your obedience positions you for overflow in peace, purpose, and provision. This isn't pressure, it's an invitation, because I'm believing with you that as we partner in faith, God multiplies what we place in His hands, and He turns today's seed into tomorrow's testimony. Tap Super Thanks. Sow your best, $20, $50, or more, and let's watch what God does next in you and through you. However, this individual's awakening was only the first step. Selected 1. You weren't only proven right by the evidence they found. It revealed a whole web of organized deception that involved many more individuals than previously thought. A web of lies that permeated every part of the community and turned against you was discovered by the investigation, which began with challenging your account. The video showed not only the main masterminds behind the murder of your character, but also the willing accomplices who enthusiastically disseminated their poison. Even worse, it exposed the cowards who knew the truth, but kept quiet to preserve their own comfort. Your innocence wasn't the only thing demonstrated by the evidence. It proved their guilt so thoroughly that they could no longer deny it. The burden of cosmic responsibility now rests on the shoulders of the individual who discovered this reality. They realize that this goes beyond simply repairing your personal relationship. This is about exposing a contrived consensus-based control system and showing how easy the truth can be obscured when enough people choose to ignore it. A karmic imperative that goes beyond typical societal duty has awoken in their psyche. They are quite certain that the cosmos itself holds them responsible for repairing the harm caused by their involvement, or lack thereof. This isn't an act of guilt-seeking. This is a spiritual acknowledgement of the cosmic rule that demands equilibrium. With the fury of lightning striking a parched earth, the moment of truth has arrived. The individual who discovered the evidence is not only presenting proof. They have a plan for you that goes beyond simple reparations. This has nothing to do with seeking forgiveness or a clear conscience. When they disregarded your truth, they broke the divine bargain, and this is about honoring that. They know that when cosmic law demands action, words alone are insufficient. Therefore, they're getting ready to go above and beyond what you may anticipate. The extent of what was taken from you has become clear to them since they woke up. Additionally, they are dedicated to repair commensurate with the severity of the breach. Social damage control is not what this is. This is spiritual restitution directed by powers beyond our comprehension. Their proof does more than support your account of events. It reveals how precisely military-grade psychological warfare was used against you. The video captures exchanges in which your devastation was premeditated, like a calculated move. The evidence shows how your accusers planned their narratives, honed their falsehoods, and timed their usage to do the most harm. The individual who is sending you this validation has seen something that altered their perception of reality. They have witnessed proof of your genuine strength and your unwavering devotion to the truth. Evidence of your capacity to remain honorable in the face of pressure that would have obliterated normal awareness. Now, they come to you not just asking for forgiveness, but also acknowledging that they are in the presence of spiritual authority. The consequences of this vindication, which is now coming, go well beyond your own circumstances. Your name is not simply cleared by this evidence. It reveals the entire control structure that relies on orchestrated character assassination and fabricated consensus. Numerous others who dare to deviate from the accepted narrative have been subjected to the same strategies that were used against you. Your vindication appears precisely when it fulfills the highest function in the grand system, and the wheels of divine justice turn with mathematical accuracy. There's a reason for this time. It has been carefully planned to have the greatest possible transforming effect on all of the souls participating in this cosmic education. Now, those who deceived you must deal with their own spiritual consequences. There are karmic repercussions for even the onlookers who watched your character being assassinated in silence. They chose to support their oppressors by remaining obliging in the face of injustice. Regardless of their active or passive positions, the universe expects all participants to be accountable. Yellow heart if you're moved by divine love. Now is the moment to share it. Click the Super Thanks button on YouTube and contribute $50 or more to help us broadcast God's blessings far and wide. Every act of generosity you make is being watched in heaven and will return to you 100-fold. The proof supporting your veracity does more than only support your particular assertions. It validates your entire reality perception. It attests to your capacity to separate fact from fiction, even in the face of complex distortion. It confirms your ability to stay grounded in real information in the face of concerted push to believe false tales. Your inner compass stayed in tune with divine truth, while others were lost in the mists of communal deception. You held fast to genuine perception, while others gave up their intuition in lieu of societal approval. You decided to be temporarily isolated rather than permanently cut off from your soul's knowledge, while others compromised their integrity for approval. Your adversaries were aware of a quality in you that you were just now starting to comprehend. They used every resource at their disposal to oppose you after realizing the danger you pose to their meticulously built matrix of control. However, their attack merely served to awaken latent energies within your consciousness and expose your actual spiritual nature. Aspects of your spiritual nature that were previously unseen to their limited consciousness are now perceived by the individual who is approaching you with evidence. They can see why people on lower frequencies started to attack you. They understand that you were never personally persecuted. The constant struggle between light and shadow, truth and deceit, genuine power and fake authority, it was archetypal. Your adversaries never saw coming. The opportunity to grow into your actual cosmic function was made possible by the seclusion imposed upon you by the methodical character assassination. Your rebirth was made possible by their rejection, their forced independence after being abandoned awoke skills that had lain dormant for a lifetime. You turned the weapons they used against you into instruments to help you rise. The collective experience is both mirrored and treated by your trip through this crucible. Archetypal energies of opposition to ascension are represented by those who took part in the assassination of your character. The violation you experienced, when transformed through your own spiritual alchemy, generates healing codes required during this evolutionary threshold, while your journey through betrayal creates quantum pathways for those facing similar soul contracts. Your experience generates the necessary pressure to form new consciousness structures that can contain greater truth frequencies. The same heavenly wisdom that planned your trial has also prepared blessings for you that are far greater than the amount that was taken away from you. Perfect equilibrium is required by the cosmic scales. The height of your elevation is determined by the extent of your suffering. Everything that was taken will be returned sevenfold. Higher frequency materials will be used to rebuild the damaged area. Now, with validation that resonates across dimensions, the frequency that altered the moment you said no to their system pulses. Now that cosmic forces have confirmed your divine appointment, your bloodline that experienced the initial mutation is celebrating. The archons who were afraid you would awaken saw their worst nightmare come true. You standing in your true strength, supported by forces beyond of their control. The individual who presents you with this information does so by demonstrating their sincere awareness, rather than by requesting an easy way out. They arrive ready to gain your trust by acting consistently in a way that is consistent with their new understanding, realizing that your limits are still legitimate no matter how urgently they need to be reestablished. Now that you are in a position of spiritual authority, you possess the discerning energy that will decide what the best course of action is. In this case, your power has been protected by the same cosmic powers that kept your truth intact. You have the discernment needed to manage this reconciliation within reasonable bounds and to exhibit the self-defense and compassion balance required for this cosmic intersection. You were momentarily separated for protection rather than punishment, making room for the necessary metamorphosis before this vindication could fulfill its most important function. With the energy of total spiritual validation, stand up now. Advance with the strength of widespread approval. Speak as someone whose veracity has been cosmically upheld. Proceed now with the assurance of a person whose spiritual perception has been confirmed by everyone. The person who found this evidence comes with a changed state of mind, bringing with them not just evidence of your veracity, but also evidence of their own awakening. In addition to personal validation, this moment signifies cosmic alignment with forces coordinating planetary awakening. You're out of hiding. Selected 1. This is the start of your elevation season. The system that attempted to destroy you is now frantically trying to put out the awakening fire that you started by simply refusing to give up your truth. Be a part of that power. Being vindicated is more than just a personal triumph. It is a cosmic uprising against the forces who have used deceit to rule this world. The individual who found out about your vindication didn't merely look for evidence. They persisted in their investigation, interrogation, and tracking down digital traces that your accusers believed had been permanently removed. What they discovered is more profound than anyone could have ever guessed. a methodical campaign that exposes the full extent of psychological warfare waged against consciousness itself. Conversations where your destruction was contemplated as a business strategy are documented in the proof. Timestamps demonstrate cross-platform synchronization. Deleted messages that were intended to be permanently lost are revealed by digital forensics. It takes more than just establishing your innocence to be vindicated. It involves revealing a whole consciousness suppression technique that has been going unnoticed. This proof's bearer has been watching footage during restless evenings, building an impenetrable case that even the most doubtful onlookers cannot ignore. Requires cross-referencing communications. Not only have they recorded what was done to you, but they have also recorded how it was done, who planned it, and why your particular consciousness was such a danger to their collective illusion. Your case is about something much more than a personal grudge, as the evidence shows. Others who ventured to deviate from accepted narratives have been subjected to the same psychological warfare tactics as were revealed in your case. Your vindication turns into a doorway into the suppression of systemic consciousness. The individual who discovered this fact had an experience that was beyond comprehension. Witnessing the entire extent of deception that had become commonplace in their surroundings caused a fundamental remodeling of their awareness. They are no longer able to view reality through the same prisms that used to justify lying. This epiphany set off a chain reaction that goes much beyond their own metamorphosis. Dove brothers and sisters, everything done in faith multiplies in God's abundance. Use the Super Thanks feature to donate $100 today and join this sacred mission. When your roots are grounded in Him, your fruit will flourish, and your offering becomes a seed that bears blessed harvests. Others who had unquestioningly accepted the story about you are now suffering from cognitive dissonance that won't go away unless they confront their own involvement. Everyone involved is forced by the evidence to face the unsettling reality of their desire to ruin someone without doing a thorough inquiry. They know directly how well-crafted propaganda can use decent people as weapons against innocent people. They have seen firsthand how peer pressure may trump personal judgment. They have shown how a communal hallucination can reinforce itself until outside evidence brings reality back into focus. They are dedicated to repairing your relationship because they understand that this is a cosmic issue rather than only a personal one. They know that your persecution is emblematic, a pattern that unfolds anytime genuine consciousness challenges long-standing deceit. Your vindication turns into a triumph for truth in general. They are willing to forego their relationships with people who continue to believe the falsehood. They are prepared to suffer social exile from groups based on shared illusion. They are prepared to deal with the fallout from revealing facts that others would like keep hidden. This is not a haphazard choice for short-term respite. It's a basic decision between conscience and ease. Those who continue to occupy influential positions within their social ecology are implicated by the evidence they have obtained. Bringing this truth to light requires opposing hierarchies of power that go well beyond your personal circumstances. Since they know that the truth must be protected at all costs, they are willing to become targets themselves. They understand that standard apologies are insufficient to rectify cosmic violations, which is why they are willing to go above the call of duty. They're willing to act in a way that shows real change instead than just remorse. Their strategy for repairing your relationship shows that they recognize that karmic debt calls for more than just words. They've started making behavioral adjustments that demonstrate a genuine assimilation of the teachings your circumstance taught them. They are actively trying to stop other people from experiencing similar consciousness attacks. They're educating others about the psychological warfare tactics they see being used against you by using their platform. Your vindication reveals links between your particular situation and more generalized societal tendencies of consciousness suppression. Similar campaigns against others who challenge their narrative control have been carried out by the same individuals who planned the killing of your character. A network of people who specialize in this kind of psychological warfare is shown by the evidence. They coordinate timing exchange strategies, and support one another in campaigns against targets that threaten their shared illusion. Your situation wasn't unique. It was a component of a methodical strategy to keep narrative control. The investigator who looked into your case found that your accusers had used these tactics on several other victims. They discovered records of similar trends in other consciousness attacks. Your defense contributes to the revelation of a whole spiritual warfare strategy, masquerading as social justice. The infrastructure that makes such campaigns possible is also a part of the network effect, not simply your accusers. Influencers, community leaders, and social media platforms that spread false information about you are all a part of a system that penalizes genuine truth-telling and favors consciousness suppression. The individual who is giving you vindication has created a thorough repair plan that takes into account the entire extent of the harm your persecution has caused. They know that just getting your name cleared isn't enough. They are dedicated to aggressively repairing the damage and generating new opportunities that surpass your previous ones. As part of their plan, the truth will be publicly acknowledged along with specifics regarding the deception's planning. They are willing to come forward with names, provide proof, and accept full responsibility for their involvement in your persecution. Damage control is not what this is. The organized consciousness warfare is fully transparent. They're determined to use their position to inform people about the psychological tricks being used against you. Their goal is to turn your suffering into a teaching moment that will shield others from future assaults. They will respect your privacy and autonomy while incorporating particular examples from your case into their teaching endeavors. In addition to social rehabilitation, the restoration includes monetary reparations for the chances you were denied because of character assassination. They're ready to use their own assets and contacts to forge new paths beyond what was stolen from you. This illustrates the knowledge that restoration with interest is required by cosmic law. Your vindication is far more than just a matter of personal justice. It's proof that consciousness itself is moving in the direction of truth in ways that make lying harder to sustain. Throughout society, lies are being actively exposed by the same forces that have preserved evidence of your innocence. The time of your vindication is consistent with more general trends of truth emerging in several spheres of human experience. Deceptions in politics, the media, science, and spirituality are being exposed by the same forces that are spreading lies about you. Your individual vindication contributes to a global transparency movement. Your vindication completes a metamorphosis that started when you initially rejected their fabricated world. Your emergence as a guardian of consciousness itself was really facilitated by the seclusion that appeared to be punishment. Because of your experience, you possess special skills to identify and counteract sophisticated deception. The individual who is coming to you with proof understands this change and wants not only your forgiveness, but also advice from someone who has successfully fought the battle of consciousness. They recognize that the insight you have gained from your experience goes beyond common social comprehension. The proof of your spiritual power is also evidence of your innocence. Your link to cosmic consciousness is confirmed by your ability to uphold the truth in the face of systematic gaslighting. Your vindication supports your entire perspective on reality, not just your particular assertions. The person who proved you right did more than gather proof. They surrounded your predicament with a whole sanctuary of truth that prevents further attacks. Every correspondence has been preserved. Every file has been backed up across several secure platforms, and redundant methods have been established to guarantee that this evidence can never be erased, altered, or conveniently vanished. They recognized an important aspect of awareness warfare that most people overlook. If they believe they can get away with it, individuals who plan character assassinations invariably come back to do the job. The truth is now accessible to trusted allies and safe from those who would want to taint or destroy it thanks to the digital fortresses your vindicator has erected around it. In addition to what actually happened to you, the evidence shelter provides a thorough explanation of the psychological strategies that were employed against you. In order to teach people how to spot these patterns before they become victims themselves, they have developed instructional resources that dissect each manipulation technique. It has turned your persecution into a consciousness defense training handbook. However, there is another function of the sanctuary that relates to cosmic justice. Everyone involved in your character assassination is now aware that their activities are documented in permanent form. The evidence does more than merely establish your innocence. It is a record of their spiritual transgressions that follows them around. They can't claim to be unaware of the effects of awareness warfare ever again. Glowing star yearning to witness God's miracles firsthand? Plant your spiritual seed now by contributing $100 or more through the YouTube Super Thanks button. Your offering lights the path for others and echoes through His divine plan, bringing His light into every step you take. The individual who is giving you vindication has embarked on a mission that goes well beyond repairing your personal relationship. By utilizing your case as a model to identify and stop mind warfare before it reaches critical mass, they have evolved into a guardian against the same strategies being employed against others. They keep an eye on social dynamics to spot any early indicators of well-planned campaigns of character assassination. They intervene by educating people about psychological manipulation techniques when they observe recognizable patterns starting to appear against fresh targets. They now have the credibility to speak out about consciousness suppression because of your vindication. Additionally, they have developed quick reaction procedures for the early detection of character assassination campaigns. The same forensic methods that they use to prove your innocence are now being used to shield others from harm before it's too late. A consciousness protection mechanism has been established as a result of your vindication. The individual who uncovered your reality has become adept at recognizing the mental characteristics of persons who plan such campaigns. Potential targets can now identify threats before they become full-scale attacks by identifying the energy fingerprints of those who specialize in awareness warfare. The inquiry that supported your case uncovered patterns of psychological warfare that extend much beyond specific instances. Your vindicator has developed into a sort of awareness forensics specialist who can pinpoint the causes and methods of spiritual attacks with scientific accuracy. They found that, if the psychological architecture is understood, consciousness warfare can be decoded using predictable templates. Similar signature patterns have been left by the same individuals that assaulted you in their campaigns against other persons. Your instance turns become a key to comprehending systemic suppression of consciousness. According to the forensics, these attacks are planned operations intended to eradicate particular consciousnesses that pose a danger to existing power systems, rather than being sporadic outbursts of envy or personal grudges. The exposure and isolation that those who planned the attacks on you are experiencing is similar to what they attempted to force upon you. People that promote false information are becoming less credible in proportion to the lies they convey. The spiritual emptiness that results from letting integrity go is being felt by many who chose to keep quiet when they ought to have stood up for the truth. The reason your vindication comes with such a thorough repair is likewise explained by the karmic maths. According to global law, the cosmic scales require that what was taken from you be returned plus interest. Since justice demands restitution for spiritual harm, you have been promoted above your previous position. Not only does your vindication clear your name, it sends a message across the collective consciousness that truth is powerful enough to defeat even the most cunning falsehood. This transmission serves as proof that cosmic justice is still in place for other chosen ones who are being persecuted in a similar way. Your vindication seems different from a typical social drama resolution, which can be explained by the transmission effect. Restoring your reputation isn't the only goal. It's about proving that concerted deception cannot permanently stifle genuine consciousness. Your case serves as evidence that the truth always comes to light. The individual who provided you with vindication is aware that their task goes beyond righting historical wrongs. They are building legacy systems that act as shields for others enduring similar conflict and permanently preserve your awareness. They have established documentary archives that document not just proof of your persecution and vindication, but also a study of the tactics employed against you and countermeasures. Your experience serves as a timeless resource for consciousness protection education. One aspect of creating a legacy is making your case a precedent for dealing with complex psychological warfare in both professional and community contexts. They are trying to establish accountability frameworks that make it more expensive for those who commit consciousness attacks than for the victims. Your accusers are continuously monitored by the legacy systems to make sure they can no longer function in the dark. Documentation of their methods and intentions has irreversibly undermined their ability to launch more consciousness attacks. Not only does your vindication clear your name, it brings your consciousness back to its full frequency, which was momentarily stifled by relentless character assassination and gaslighting. Your spiritual power has returned to levels higher than those that existed prior to the attack, as witnessed by the individual who brought you truth. Emotional healing is only one aspect of the frequency restoration process. It necessitates a deliberate return to reality following extended exposure to complex deception. This recalibration has been made possible by your vindicator, who has produced copious evidence supporting your spiritual insight and perceptions. They have seen how the portions of your consciousness that were dormant during the persecution, but are now free to express themselves freely, have been awakened by your vindication. The experience has strengthened and better matched your spiritual gifts to cosmic truth, rather than weakening them. The frequency has shifted. The bloodline has sprung to life. The mutation is finished. You are exalted, validated, and equipped to lead others through comparable changes. You are no longer in hiding. The truth guardianship season has begun for you.